Hello, pond people, Frogopolis here. A while ago, I did a video on Jason X, which is probably my favorite entry in the franchise, and I talked about all the other Friday the 13th movies. At the time, while going over Friday the 13th's very solid timeline, I forgot to talk about one of his adventures, and that is Freddy vs. Jason. And that's because, truth be told, I haven't seen the whole thing until very recently. I know, I'm ashamed too. I'm a big fat phony. So I'm going to talk about it today and complete the sacred timeline. Freddy vs. Jason has a very interesting history and essentially went through production hell for years. The idea of putting these two slasher icons together has been around since the late 80s. One of the biggest problems was that they were both owned by different companies. By this point, Friday the 13th wasn't the juggernaut it used to be. But there was a bit of a silver lining here because when Jason Takes Manhattan bombed, Newline was able to come in and buy Jason Voorhees licensing rights. This is why Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X don't have the Friday the 13th next to it. And how we were able to get that iconic ending to Jason Goes to Hell where Freddy Krueger reaches his arm out of the ground and drags his mask down. After that, we would only have to wait about 10 years to finally see them together. This was due to many scripts and many people having many ideas. How do you get Freddy and Jason together? Then you have to get a director and you have to get the actors together and producers. Yeah, it got stuck in development hell. But even before New Line, there were already tons of ideas that were pitched for what Freddy vs. Jason could be. Some of these include a cult of Freddy Krueger worshippers called Fredheads who want to resurrect Freddy through a virgin sacrifice, and another person resurrecting Jason to stop the cult. Which also would have had a scene where they fight in a boxing ring made of entrails and skulls, and the ring announcer would have been Ted Bundy, and there would be other monsters from history in the crowd. This one had Freddy being resurrected by Satan to look for the Holy Grail, so God resurrects Jason to go after Freddy. There's this really weird meta one where Jason would have been a regular guy who's on trial for murders that inspired Jason in the movies, but Freddy Krueger would be real and he would start showing up in Jason's dreams after he went into a coma, and then would start using Jason as a conduit to cause chaos in the real world and I guess murder a bunch of people. And it would be a wacky self-aware comedy. There's so many of these and I highly recommend looking into them yourself. It gets pretty crazy. Back to the Freddy vs. Jason we eventually got, there was a really fun marketing campaign around it, and the one I distinctly remember is when they did a weigh-in in Vegas. I love this kind of stuff. Robert Englund is just so good as Freddy Krueger and he's so funny here. We also have Ken Kersinger, who plays Jason this time around, pantomiming his reactions because, well, he doesn't talk. It's very cute. But he does talk in this behind-the-scenes interview they did for Starz. It's just so funny watching them hang out and be friends in full makeup.
He holds up, let me tell you. He takes a good beating, but so does Jason, so.
Seeing this, along with some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, is stuff I really enjoy when looking into these movies. But what about the movie itself? Even with all this great marketing and all the hype, did it deliver? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Let's talk about it. Right off the bat, we have Freddy Krueger, who reminds us who he is and goes over his history. Freddy Krueger is really interesting. He's just so funny and charismatic while being absolutely horrible. And then you remember in his origin story that he was burned alive for hurting kids. But damn it, just look at him. He's just a silly little guy. So what's Freddy up to these days? Well, he's stuck in hell, but he has a plan. Freddy's trapped in hell because people have either forgotten about him or they're not afraid of him anymore. So he finds Jason Voorhees, who's also in hell, of course. Remember the end of Jason Goes to Hell? He goes to hell. Freddy pretends to be his mother and convinces him that he needs to rise from the grave and go to Elm Street to kill kill the teenagers there because, I don't know, they're smoking pot and doing sex. And this seems to be all the motivation Jason needs, so he comes back and he heads his way to Elm Street. We meet our victims for this movie, and they're having a very important conversation. F, marry or kill the Three Stooges. I guess for me it would be F Curly, marry Larry, and kill Moe. Sorry Moe. Looking at these three ladies, immediately you'll probably recognize Kelly Rowan from Destiny's Child. We've also got Ginger from Ginger Snaps, Dipper from Gravity Falls, Betty's dad from Riverdale, Commander Walters from Sonic, Fryman from The Revenant, Evie from Man of the House, Dude from Postal, Teen Party Guy from Halloween Resurrection, and Adam from Aliens in the Family. He was also in something called Barry. And with that important information out of the way, let's get back to the movie. Lori happens to live in the old Elm Street house. Her dad's not home, so she has her friends over, and damn it, wouldn't you know it, they're drinking and doing the sex. Gib goes upstairs to make whoopee with her boyfriend Trey, and you'll notice I didn't even mention him earlier, because he's the first one to die. She went to go take a shower, Jason had slipped into the house through the back door and just folds Trey in half. Then he just kind of leaves. He doesn't kill anyone else. I thought he was going to get Gib. Nah, he just leaves. Gibbs comes out of the shower, finds Trey dead, and they all freak out and run out of the house. And just their luck, Deputy Stubbs is right there. Because Trey died in the Elm Street house, one of the officers instantly presumes that it must have been Freddy Krueger. Lori, who's going to be our main girl in this movie, is in the interrogation room and is trying to figure out what the heck is going on. She puts her head down for a moment and must have dozed off because she starts having a nightmare on Elm Street. Okay. I'm sorry. This sequence is actually pretty cool, but yes, this is early 2000s CGI, you're just gonna have to live with it. Lori comes face to face with Freddy, but he's still too weak to do anything. Then we go to Blake, and his dad's mad at him for going out to party with his friends, and then he falls asleep, and he dreams about Freddy, but Freddy's also too weak to do anything. Blake has a really weird reaction to seeing him.
Okay, I'm alright.
He wakes up from his nightmare and Jason has pulled one of his magic tricks as his dad's head magically falls off. And then he gets macheted too. Now we're taken to an institution. This is Lori's boyfriend Will, who was institutionalized after witnessing Lori's mom be murdered by her dad. We also meet his friend Mark. By now the news has gotten out that there's been a murder in the Elm Street house. Will finds out and wants to make sure Lori's okay. Mark devises a plan to break them out of the institution. He's able to cause a distraction that allows him to steal a key card, and they just kind of run out the back door. We're back with Lori, and Lori knows now that there's weird shit going on, and now she's resting at home with her dad, who just immediately starts acting suspicious. They want you to know that this guy is up to no good. If you're wondering, he's trying to give her hypnosil, but we'll talk about that later. Lori's feeling pretty cooped up at home, so she decides to go to school to see her friends, and they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. You have Trey, who is literally folded in half, then these weird nightmares about a guy called Freddy. Then Lori finds out that Blake is dead, and the police are blaming him for his father's death and Trey's death. And then I guess he just hacked himself up into pieces, which is quite the feat. But thankfully, here to help is a Linderman. He's going to be our nerd for this movie. He is essential for every slasher flick. It's the law. Linderman's more of an acquaintance to the friend group and clearly has a crush on Lori. We see that there's going to be a rave in a cornfield. This is important for later. We also get introduced to Freeberg, the token stoner. Yay! And yes, this is how he looked and acted back in the early 2000s. We had baggy jeans, spiked hair, beanies, and alien ant farm. Lori is having a hard time, understandably, and here to make things worse is Mark. Him and Will show up at this crowded high school while still on the run after escaping the institution. Mark is here to give our characters the lowdown on who Freddy is, and Will is here to comfort Lori and be a good boyfriend. Good on you, Will. This is all a bit much for Lori, and she ends up passing out. Lori's unconscious, so you know what that means. Kia also seems to be dozing off. This scene is weird because it's kind of a fake out. nothing happens to Lori, and Kia just kinda gets pranked.
Got your nose!
We're back with Will and Mark, and we find out that Mark was in the institution of Will because Mark's brother was killed by Freddy Krueger, and Mark's brother was having the exact same dreams as Lori before he died. They are seen by the principal, and there's 2 cops there, but they just kind of run away, and that's the extent of them escaping the authorities. When they go to do more research, and yes, this is what computers looked like back in the day, they find out that there is not only no record of his brother, but there is also no record of Freddy Krueger anywhere. It's safe to presume that they institutionalized Mark to stop him from talking about Freddy and spreading him. Will knows he needs to save Lori, so he makes his way to the corn maze rave. Nothing bad will happen at a huge gathering in the middle of nowhere. Will really needs to tell her something important, but Kia just wants to get her party on. Gib had a bit too much to drink and wanders off and ends up passing out, leading to Freddy, who has started getting his power back, using her dead boyfriend as a puppet to lure her into his trap. Here we really get to see Freddy again at work, and he hasn't missed a step. Well, mostly, because wouldn't you know it, Jason comes by and kills her himself. Jason makes his way to the rave. Bulk and Skull here to start drunkenly harassing Jason, and Jason just twists this guy's head all the way backwards. Oh, I love it. And then the other guy just sets him on fire. He walks through the cornfield while on fire and just starts taking everyone out. Now here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Jason has his time to shine. He's on such a rampage that he kills this guy twice. Except for Gib, they're able to make it out alive and escape Jason's rampage. But now they're extra confused because who the hell is this huge guy with a hockey mask on? When it's just Will and Lori, they get to Lori's house, and Will tells her not to go inside. He explains to Lori what I told you, that he's been gone because he was in an institution after seeing her father kill her mother. And her evil father must have institutionalized Will to stop him from saying anything. Lori had already started becoming suspicious of her dad, so this was good enough for her. Her dad and Will argue, then her and her dad argue, and then she just ends up going off with Will. From here they go talk to his good friend Mark and ask him some stuff about Freddy. I sure hope Mark's okay. When it comes to horror, this is the scariest and creepiest scene in the movie. It's really good. It took me by surprise considering the mostly comedic tone the movie had had until this point. Freddy, now having gained more power, starts tormenting Mark by showing him visions of his brother's final moments. Brendan Fletcher and Zach Ward, who plays his brother, are really good here. It's only a short moment in the movie, but they're really good at making it seem like they've had this connection and the hurt he feels seeing him like this again. After tormenting him, Freddy sets him on fire. Will and Lori are unfortunately too late. When they finally get into the house, Mark is dead, and the words "Freddy's back" are on his back. God damn it, Freddy, that's funny. We're back at the police station, and the sheriff wants to put the town on lockdown. Deputy Stubbs is new to town, so he doesn't really know what's going on. But he knows who Jason Voorhees is, and he thinks that the person who killed all the people at the Corn Rave is a copycat killer. The police chief has a very specific way of dealing with Freddy though, so when Deputy Stubbs starts asking questions, he tells him to not go out of line or he's gonna put him in jail. So of course Stubbs immediately goes and finds the teenagers and tells them all exactly what's happening, while giving them a lore dump of who Jason Voorhees is. What's their big idea? How are they going to deal with Freddy and Jason? Well, they're going to try to lure out Freddy with a virgin sacrifice, and you might think it's Nerd Guy, but it's actually Lori, and they're just going to tie her up and oh my god, Freddy's here and he's doing the bad touch. Oh no! Oh, never mind, she was having a nightmare. During that nightmare though, she tore his ear clean off and it came with her into the real world. That seems pretty useful. What they are going to do is look for Hypnosil. When they're talking to Will, he talks about how he'd never had dreams when he was in the institution because they were doping everyone up on this drug that made it so they can't have them. They're just going to get a whole bunch of this drug, and they're going to get it by going back to the institution that Will and Mark were held at. It turns out breaking into this facility is pretty easy, and they start looking for the hypnosil. Freeberg wants to have a jailbreak though. While everyone else is exploring the facility, they come across a bunch of people in a comatose state. All of these people are patients that were given too much hypnosil, so they were in a permanent coma instead. I like this scene, it's very eerie. We're back at Freeberg and he's just enjoying a good J, when suddenly the door opens and Centipede Freddy Krueger comes in with a hookah. Those are words that just came out of my mouth and we're just gonna keep going. Oh, right, so Jason Voorhees is here too, he just kinda let himself in. Freeberg wants some of what Freddy's having, so he follows him right into a nightmare where all the comatose people rise up and start whispering to him and pointing. So he just kind of follows where they're pointing, where he is then attacked by Caterpillar, Centipede, Freddy, and he just goes right down his throat. This lets him possess Freeberg. I'm gonna call him Freddy Freeberg because it's fun to say. Freddy Freeberg starts taking all the hypnosil and pouring it down the drain. His friends have no idea he's possessed, so they're just confused why he's doing this, but they don't have much time to think about that because Jason's here. I have to say I'm really happy with how they've used Jason in this movie so far. Most of his scenes have just been pure chaos, and this is no exception. But oh man, he fries Deputy Stubbs. We're back with Freddy Freeberg, and Freddy hasn't been too happy with Jason taking all his kills and going on a rampage, so he wants to take him out. So he gets two big old syringes full of Imobitine and just jams them right into him before he gets cut in half. Now we get Jason in Freddy's nightmare. It's pretty darn cool. Freddy starts telling off Jason as his mother, telling him that he only had to kill a few people and he killed too much, and now he needs to go away. Then Freddy himself confronts him. We're here, it's happening, Freddy vs. Jason! Jason starts off strong, but he's gonna have some trouble because Freddy's in control here. I particularly love this scene. Then, as they're fighting, Freddy finds out that Jason is afraid of water? But Jason has been in water numerous times before. Like, I understand the logic behind it since he drowned as a kid, but, you know, why now? I know because movie, but I'm just gonna headcanon that Freddy's gotten so strong that he's able to resurface Jason's fear of water, which I don't think he ever had. You know what? It's fine. Let's keep going. In the real world, the teens have taken Jason with them because their new plan is they're gonna keep him trapped up until they get to Crystal Lake. Then Laurie's gonna trank herself so she can go into the dream world and confront Freddy. And then when Freddy goes to attack her, the others will wake her up and she'll pull him into the real world, where then Jason will hopefully be awake and Jason will fight Freddy. This sounds like a great plan. Let's see how it plays out. It's really cool seeing how Jason dreams. We see, of course, the day he died, but also the fact that he seems to be in this endless loop of just killing people. Freddy starts trying to drown Kid Jason, which sounds really horrible when I say it out loud. Back in the real world, they see that he's drowning, and somebody's gonna have to give him mouth to mouth. Before this happens though, Jason wakes up and this startles Linderman, causing him to fire off his gun. He had a gun, which startles Will, distracting him, which causes the van to go careening off the road, and Jason just goes flying out of the back. Freddy's none too happy about this, so he goes to go kill Laurie instead. This shot is so cool. Freddy starts attacking Laurie. Laurie is screaming to be woken up, but she's still in the nightmare. Turns out she may have taken too much tranquilizer. Now, Freddy has taken her back to the old Elm Street house. Specifically on the night her mother was murdered. And I know you're not going to see this twist coming, but it wasn't her dad who killed her mom, it was Freddy. Back in the real world, Jason's awake and he's pissed. He's just trying to kill everybody. Kia's fighting back though. She picks up her own knife and just starts hitting Jason with it. I mean, he smacks her and she goes flying, but you know what? Good for her. Linderman takes a flagpole and just jams it right into Jason. He also gets smacked and goes flying, and unfortunately for him, hits something pretty sharp. Freddy attacks Laurie and it's very uncomfortable. Thankfully, she burned her hand and this wakes her up. This brings Freddy into to the real world, and you know what that means? It's time for round 2. This whole fight is just so ridiculously fun, it's worth it to watch just for this alone. Jason is just ragdolling Freddy. While they're fighting, we're taken back to Linderman and Kia, and Linderman isn't looking too good after being smacked around by Jason. We get another really sad death. Linderman's bleeding out, he's not gonna make it. He tells her to go on and that he'll be fine, but she knows he isn't. Will and Laurie are trying to avoid being collateral damage during this fight. Freddy confronts Laurie and Will, and he's about to kill them right then and there. Then Kia shows up to distract him.
Dark meat.
Oh no, Freddy, that's racist.
What kind of runs around in a Christmas sweater?
Kia, that's homophobic! Jason comes by and breaks this up before things can get any more heated. The fight's back on, and what can I say? It's pure fan service, and I love it. They get to fighting on the docks. Laurie wants to take care of these two once and for all, though, so her and Will start spraying the docks with gasoline and then set it on fire. Freddy seems like he's finally starting to get an upper hand in this fight, but the fire spreads to a propane tank and it explodes, sending him and Jason flying. Will and Laurie hug each other, thinking it's all over, but you know it's not. Freddy comes out of the water, and he's about to attack them with Jason's machete, but then Jason stabs Freddy with his own hand. Then Laurie takes Jason's machete and says, "Welcome to my world, bitch," and cuts off Freddy's head. Then her and Will just kinda leave. Though, right as we think the movie's ending, we see Jason walking out of the water, holding Freddy's head, and Freddy gives us a little wink. Damn, that was fun. While it looks pretty goofy at times, and it's certainly not perfect, I think this does justice for both franchises. This would be Robert Englund's last time playing Freddy Krueger in a movie, though he'd continue to show up as him for special occasions and conventions, before eventually retiring playing the character for good. I can't really think of anyone else playing that role. They tried once, and it didn't work out. I'm pretty happy with the send-off his character got, and I'm pretty happy with the send-off Jason got in Jason X. They also tried to reboot that franchise and it was pretty good. I'm happy I finally got around to watching the full thing. I had a really good time. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe or leave a little comment. Either way, I'm just happy you stopped by. Have a great day and try not to have any freaky dreams with Jason and Freddy in them. Or do, I won't judge you. Bye!